It's like we had last time.
Maybe. I don't know.
We are live.
But that was from a phone. So it's saying that we're live.
It's saying we're live. I feel like I should be playing some theme music or something.
It shows that there's audio coming through, which I think is a good thing.
It does. It does seem like a good thing.
If I mess with this, does that turn that volume up and down? No. If you're watching right now,
yes,
let us know if you can hear us and how it sounds. You don't have to let us know how we look. We already know we look great.
I'm gonna get us started with some theme music. That'll probably get us like, you know. Do you think this will make it so like we can't be monetized in Russia or
Probably,
something?
Yeah. I'm okay with it.
Oh. All right, that was good bumper music. Sorry, I didn't fade it out. Should have faded it out more. Welcome to the Screw. Oh wait, I have to do a sound effect. There we go. I'm Daniel Hargrove.
I'm Justin Domashevitz. No producer Andrew Gross today.
We are producerless.
We are producerless, and it's led to a little bit of difficulty, which is part of the reason that I say, if you are watching right now, oh wait, Chase says it sounds good. Thank you, Chase. You know what? Chase. I appreciate that Chase is willing to give us a compliment, any compliment at all,
even if it's just on what is technically going on.
Yeah.
I'm going to hop on. So I'm going to need you to talk for a little bit because I'm going to grab the link and share it around to a couple people.
Okay, you grab that link and share it around to all the nations.
Whoa.
Go forth unto all nations and share our podcast link.
I mean, I think that's a bit much.
Is it a little like sort of close to sacrilege? Maybe, but I like to toe the line. You know me.
This might be blasphemous.
It's possible. Yeah. But no, we have good stuff to talk about today. It's going to be it's a very abbreviated show. It's going to be shorter than normal, and I won't have as much of all the different sports to talk about because we ran out. Like, simply put, without Andrew, I had to figure out how I could take the equipment that I have at home, and do a show in the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me probably 3 times as long as a normal man to get it done. And then I had to
normal man. I wouldn't say that.
I also had to enlist the help of my wife to help. It was like a pickle jar. I got it most of the way. I did almost everything, and I loosened it. And then at the very end, she was the one who made it work.
Chase, you said sounds good. Andrew, our producer, says he's watching from the wilderness.
Ooh, so usually he's in the woods.
Yeah, but he's out in the wilderness. He's out where John the Baptist usually hangs.
Locusts and honey and whatnot.
Chase says the only thing I won't compliment about the podcast is the teams Justin's roots for. That checks out. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't care.
Andrew says, "Wow, Chase, those are the parts of our podcast that are most embarrassing."
The teams I root for?
I don't think they're most embarrassing.
No, there's way more embarrassing stuff than that.
About our podcast?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we're super embarrassing.
We're really
There's
embarrassing.
a Mickey Mouse telephone above your head right now, and my teams that I root for are the most embarrassing parts of our podcast.
That's creepy looking Mickey Mouse.
It's super creepy,
man. That's like
let's go down to the basement, kids. Oh boy.
Like that is.
You don't want to go to the basements under Disney World.
Oh no.
No, you do not.
No.
So stay away.
My guy, stay away from those places.
Yeah. If you're ever either at Disney World or at the Denver airport, do not go below ground.
Oh, Denver airport too, huh?
Oh yeah. Bad things happen there. People go missing, all kind of lizard people.
Oh, really? Lizard people?
Lizard people. Well, so
those were more like in our national parks cave systems.
Some are saying.
Some are saying.
Some are saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Definitely in the cave systems of our national parks, though.
Absolutely.
Fairies and lizard people. Maybe they're the same thing.
I just realized that we don't have Andrew to like temper our unhinged talk today. Chase says, never go anywhere you aren't supposed to at Disney. You won't come back. Chase knows.
Yeah.
My guy, Chase. Yes, absolutely.
Chase is smart.
So should we? Gosh, I'm still trying to figure out. I say I'm trying to figure out, but I really don't think about it until while we're recording the show
Mhm.
of a catchy, cool thing. Because I used to say, let's get it going with the local sports round or with the 2-minute drill.
Yeah.
Should I just say the same thing? Let's get it going with the local sports roundup.
Just try it, and then if it doesn't work out, then we'll scrap it and start over.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's get it going with the local sports roundup.
No, I don't like it. No, we got to do something
Do
different.
you want me to play music under it?
I don't know. What do you have that's
Try and find something that's not, copywritten.
yeah. Or you know what? To be honest, there's only 3. We could just say them.
There's only 3 things.
Yes.
Man, you were busy trying to figure this stuff
Well,
out.
my thought, it was about 2:00, 2:30 or so.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm pounding away trying to get some of these local sports stuff. So get some of the local sports stuff figured out. And I was like, you know what? I better go figure out the technology, because if I don't figure out the technology, then I can't go back to that.
Right.
I have to get it figured out. And then literally we were figuring it out as you got here. So I
Yeah.
didn't get to go back to the show sheet. So whatever's in there is the show. Are we ready to round up local sports?
I think we are. I don't think this music's going to work.
What is
very
that?
well. I don't know.
PL Willapa Valley's football team knocked off Raymond South Bend 53-14 in a rivalry matchup on Friday at Krogstad Field in Menlo. Cody Strozik and Blaine King each scored 2 rushing touchdowns for the Titans. Strozik led PWV with 144 yards on 11 carries. Titan quarterback Nathan Fluke completed 11 of his 14 pass attempts for 186 yards and 4 tutties.
No fluke.
Each to a different receiver. King, Cody Mikan, Lucas Lusk, and Hank Swartz each were on the receiving end of a fluke TD pass, which is fun wordplay. Isaac Schluter and Chris Quintana each rushed for a touchdown for the Ravens.
Montesano won its 3rd straight football game at Tenino on a Friday, 31-13. Tarek Gunter, Torrin Kreitz, Tyson Perry, and Zach Timmons each scored a touchdown for the Bulldogs, while Chris Tobar converted his 4 extra points attempts and made a 40-yard field goal.
He's real good.
Dude's got a leg. Official
2 of them, actually.
No. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Official stats are not yet available, but KWOK, the voice of Grace Harbor High School sports, Ian Cope, had Kreitz with 161 receiving yards in the contest. Gunter, Timmons, and Cole Keesbew each intercepted a pass for Monty.
In other football scores from across the area, Hoquiam picked up a road win at Tootle Lake 14-13. It's
Not
a
a
fake
lake.
lake. It's a fake lake. Oakville beats Ahola 32-30. Aberdeen fell at home to WF West 47-12. Acosta lost to Wakayakum 50-28. North Beach lost to Nacelle 78 to nothing. And Lake Quinault fell to Washington School for the Deaf 40-29. Elma dropped its 3rd game in a row, 43-0 against Rochester.
Rochester's
At
tough,
home
man.
at Davis Field. I was there.
Yikes. So that is the local sports roundup. As Justin mentioned, we are producerless. And so that has hampered us today. Justin, you are furiously updating the Daily World website.
I was just trying to see if they posted football articles yet, so we could get stats.
What about that that volleyball thing you're looking at? What happened there?
Well, prep volleyball, a window popped up I wasn't ready for. What was that setting? What is happening?
I don't
right now?
know.
I don't know how to work my own phone. Prep volleyball, 7 Twin Harbors teams were victorious on Thursday. In
I like the sound of that.
There also
Can
was
you just scroll through and give me the headlines from the volleyball?
Sure. Well, hang on a sec, because Montesano beat Hoquiam in golf.
I like how you just wanted to hold things off to say that.
Well, I was looking. It's not just that. I was looking because one of our Athlete of the Week nominees is a Acosta soccer player, and I was trying to see.
Oh, shocker! An Acosta
If-
player is one of our athletes of the
Right.
week, and
Well,
a soccer player. I wonder who it could be.
I'm pretty sure Bristol scored.
Is it Bristol Toll?
I think she scored 5 goals in one game, if I'm remembering
Isn't it
correctly.
Glut 4?
Yeah.
Did we ever figure out what 5 was?
Yeah. Is 5 a brace?
No, a brace is 2. A brace of conies.
Oh,
Like a pair.
Okay.
A brace is a pair.
We had the names for all of them
Yeah,
from
we
all the way
did.
up to 6 at one point.
We are going to have to ask Eddie for that again. Oh, wow. We got some comments.
What did Bitcoin Hoodie guy say? That
He said Monty will have their JV volleyball team in the second quarter against Elma. Yikes. McGaffey needs to transfer to Monty and play wide receiver.
Ooh.
Whoa. Bitcoin Hoodie guy coming in hot.
Shots fired.
Jeesh.
Chase, we are going to talk about Elma football a little bit because I was there at that
And-
Rochester game.
And Chase says, I will not accept this Elma slander, Bitcoin Hoodie guy. And then Chase follows it up with Rochester will compete with Monty for league title. I think that's kind of what we were looking at, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think, and also when we talked to Dylan Wilhelm from the Chronicle,
Wilhelm. Yes.
He covers Rochester and Tenino, and
Right.
his general feeling was that Rochester would be the team in the league that would compete with Monty for the title this year.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, they're dropping down from 2A, right?
Yeah.
And they're also on the rise football-wise compared to last year, because last year, no, wait, that was Tenino that their whole coaching staff like reset right before the year.
Correct.
So is this just year 2 of this coaching staff for Rochester? Is that why?
Yeah, because the coaching staff from Tenino went to Rochester.
Oh, that's
So now Rochester runs that horrible, what do you call the offense where there's 3 running backs behind the quarterback and it's packed into a phone booth? Is it wing T?
well, you could call it the wing T, but that sounds like even more than the wing T.
Well, there's no, like,
is that the
wings.
wishbone?
Is it a wishbone?
No, I think the wishbone might be something different.
Well, I call it boring.
What's it look like?
It's
Like the running backs in the backfield.
they're all lined up like 3 in a row behind the quarterback.
I think that's the wishbone. Man.
Okay. I don't like it.
That's like 1950s.
And everybody else is up on the line. So you got the quarterback, then you've got 3 running backs. I mean, it is like a T if you look at it like that.
Well, the wing T is technically when Monty goes no shotgun. I think that's the wing T.
What is this
Dude,
thing
I
that
don't know
keeps
why you-
popping up
I
on my
don't
phone?
know,
What am I
but-
hitting?
I don't.
What is this little blue thing? Does it think I need help? Accessibility menu? I don't need accessibility. Anyway, Monty Volleyball beat Rochester on Thursday 3-0.
Did it look like that?
No, instead of the running backs being like offset from each other, they're
Right.
all straight in a line like this.
Oh, so the fullback's like back in the middle?
Yeah.
Well, that's the wishbone.
Okay.
So can I show this?
I'm going to say it's wing T. Can people see this if you're watching?
This. Oh,
Okay, there's a ring light back there that's
Yeah.
making it hard to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
That's-
you had it. Yep, kind of a
that's
little
the
bit.
wishbone.
Okay. See, the
This is
wishbone sort
great.
of looks like a Y.
Yeah. Quarterback, fullback, and then 2 running backs split behind.
Yeah, it's not that.
It's not that.
I'm going to say it's a wing T.
Well, the wing T, I thought the wing T was like when Monty gets into that set with the fullback straight behind, and then like the Z and the H are offset to either side.
Mhm.
I think that's the wing T, isn't it?
Probably. I'm bad at knowing
This
formations.
is riveting stuff here.
Well, as I was saying about volleyball, Montesano kept its perfect league record intact over with a straight set win over Rochester on Thursday. I was looking for stats for senior setter Carissa Otterstetter, because she's always got stats. She had 10 kills.
Oh, it's the T formation. That's
what it looks like.
Yeah. Yep. That's what it looks like. Tight ends on either side on the line.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
boring.
It's just the T formation. So that's the like.
So it doesn't even have a cool name.
No.
Oh,
Gross.
gross. Raymond South Bend volleyball straight set win over North Beach, and Ocosta volleyball straight set win over Lake Quinault. Jalissa Schlegel 10 kills, and then Sophie either Olive or Olive 13 aces and 22 for 22 in service.
Volleyball is such a violent sport.
It's so many kills. Hoquiam with a straight set win over Tenino. Take that, Beavers.
Wait,
And
can we just say take that to Nino? Because when you say take that Beavers, it kind of makes me feel uncomfortable.
take that, Tenino. Hoquiam was led by libero Lexi LeBounty with 15 digs, and then Caitlin Broadhead had 33 assists and 6 kills, and Aaliyah Kennedy had 18 kills. She's a freshman, man.
Whew.
Some up and comers in that class for Hoquiam girls.
Yeah. Oh, there really is. Yeah.
Elma with a 3-2 win over Tyee. Tyee. What is that?
Tai.
Never heard of it.
I don't know.
But they won. 29 digs from Melissa Warren, 22 digs and 25 assists from Haley Manners, and 28 kills by Hayden Bogart. 28 kills!
That's a lot of kills.
That's like twice as many kills as a lot of the good kills have kills.
Yeah.
Kills.
That's a lot of kills.
Yeah.
They are setting her up every time, just letting her smash. That's crazy.
Hayden Bogart. Willapa Valley with a straight set win over Wishkah Valley. Let's see. Jillian Hodel, 9 aces. Sam Sheary, 14 assists. And Tyler Keaton, 7 kills. And then also, no stats on this one, but Aberdeen with a straight set victory over WF West. Take that, Bearcats. I almost forgot their mascot for a minute there. So, hey, we have a little bit more sports. I'm not going to go deep into much of anything else, but that one, when it says 8 wins for local teams, that's an easy sell to go in there. Even though I'm a little annoyed with the Daily World right now for not getting football articles out quicker, go support the Daily World. They like 80% of the stats we get for what's reported on here comes from the Daily World. We do some digging on things that we can't find other places, but most of it comes from there, and they need your support. We are subscribers, and we encourage you to be subscribers as well. If you don't want the paper copy, go get a subscription for online access. It is definitely worth it.
Especially if you don't want Grace Harbor to become a news desert, because local radio and local news in general is becoming hard to, to keep going. So we gotta keep going what we have going. So go subscribe to the Daily World for sure. Do it.
I just realized every time I lean in to try to read the comments, it looks really funny.
Yeah, it's at the top of your head.
Yeah, well, I'm wearing a hat, so we're good.
Do you need glasses?
Yes.
Oh,
maybe. I don't know.
Good to know.
Yeah.
What comments are you trying to read? Are you trying to read Francis saying riveting? You could talk Seahawks football. Yeah, that was a rough game today. Chase says it's a deception offense. Everybody on the line, and you have to figure out who has the ball, and all 3 running backs run fakes if they don't have the ball. Then Francis goes back to the NFL. Apparently Tiggy likes the Giants, which I didn't know he had such bad judgment. And then William McGaffey says, god-awful boring football by Rochester, but you have to hand it to him. It is effective. Yeah, there's a reason why teams run offensive like that. If I was a high school coach, if I could be a high school football coach, I would want that offense in my bag, and I would want like a spread offense in my bag.
You want to run both?
No, not at the same time.
But
the thing about high school teams is you don't get to pick what players you have unless you're a private school or Montesano. And so with that...
I'm making sure that Coach Terry Jensen knows you said that, and I had nothing to do with it.
Well, you get enough transfers from Hoquiam and Elma in there in Aberdeen, and it's pretty much it. You get to run whatever offense you want in that situation, but most high schools get to get the players they have, and sometimes they've got a bunch of beefy running backs and some linemen and no quarterback, and so they need to run something like that. And sometimes you got a bunch of speedy receivers like Hoquiam had for a couple years and no beef. And so you just try and spread it out and throw it. But that's why if I was a high school coach, I know this is a little bit of a digressing, and sadly, I don't think I'll ever get to be a high school coach. But I would think you would want multiple styles of offense to be able to fit your players that you have. Don't you think?
Absolutely. And you could have said all that without taking a shot at the Dogfather, but you did it anyway.
Yeah, that's true. You know what I do have to say, though, is the offense that they run, that Montesano runs, is pretty multiple.
Yeah.
So like we've seen within the same structure of an offense, we've seen very different offenses. Remember the Anthony Louthan years?
Yeah.
Where it's pretty much just like wildcat running?
Yes.
So, you know what? We have seen shifts, but they've been able to do everything within that whole structure of an offense. So maybe I would just go with that style.
And sometimes their primary offensive threat is the H. Sometimes it's the F. Sometimes it's the Z. And wherever your best player is, those people tend to get the ball more.
I think I've seen it as the quarterback, the H, and the Z.
Well, Gabe Podwell was the F last year.
The F. Yeah. The F was... I don't think I've ever seen it as the H. That's
Really?
the one thing. I don't think I've ever seen the main threat
Remember Evan Truax?
sorry, I was thinking is it the Y, the
Oh,
tight end?
The Y is the tight end. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. You're right. HZF quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the X is like sometimes you have a great X, but
Yeah.
they're never like
The focal
the
point.
centerpiece of the offense,
Yeah. Yeah.
But like when you have a Z like Kyler Pranty,
right.
he's going to be the center point of the
Exactly.
offense. And when you have an F like Gabe Bodwell.
Or a Z like Sam Winter.
Yeah, exactly.
Gosh, I hate how much I know like Monty history of studs.
You're welcome. Or when you have an H like
Wait,
Carson Klinger.
What was, I gotta assume, was Big Hill an F?
I think so.
We need to go,
He seems like he would have been an F.
right. Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
I avoided football games when
what you're saying is that you should play, like, ideally you should work with the personnel that you have.
Right.
That's not really what that coaching staff that's at Rochester that used to be at Tenino does.
They just do what they do.
They just do it. And like in Tenino, they had a couple years of Takari Hickel and Dylan Spicer, and it was like, hey, we're going to take this super boring offense and have great players in it and make it look exciting and gain 600 yards on the ground in one game.
Right.
Because we just have guys that are going to run over everybody. But in general, like the function of that offense is that it's kind of an equalizer. When you're playing against a team that outmatches you, you can grind it out. And if you only get 3 yards a carry, as long as you never go backwards, you always get 3 yards a carry, you go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, then you're going to consistently, number one, take the air out of the ball and keep the ball out of the other team's hands. And number two, you're going to get a lot of first downs.
Yeah. And I got to say, as a Beavers fan, our most effective play, as not Tenino Beavers.
Oh boy.
Gross. As an Oregon State Beavers fan, our most effective play this week was the option.
Yeah.
Another kind of equalizing play. So, you know what? When you're playing against it, you hate it.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you're that team, you just got to run with what you got.
I think when I was talking to Forrest, our friend Forrest Worgum the other day, and I told him I hate this offense. And I was like, if it was my team and they were running it and it worked, I'd be fine with it.
Exactly.
But I don't like it.
Well, it's like, Andrew sent us some screenshots of where he is. So he's watching our podcast.
Okay.
But he's like out in the middle of nowhere.
At his house? Or
good call, King. But you got to play to your strength when you're in it. You got to figure out who your team is and go with it. We got a couple other things. Shoot, I probably shouldn't move the computer.
Chase says that Elma girls soccer beat Rochester 4-0, Tenino 5-0, Tyee 10-0, and tied.
Tyee's a school?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Me either, until literally this week. And then Overlake tied 0-0. Beta Valentine, 14 goals in the 3 wins. That's huge. Thank you, Chase. Appreciate that info.
That's a lot of goals.
And also, like, Elma girls soccer played a super tough schedule early on and struggled in the very early goings, like the first few matches they had. So it's nice to see that they've gotten back on track.
Well, I mean, Overlake sounds like an evil corporation from a futuristic movie.
Like Overlords.
Yeah, but they
can't just say that.
Yeah, so they have to put a lake next to it.
Yeah. They live underneath the Denver airport. Tyee High School is in SeaTac, according to William McGaffey.
Gotcha.
I do want to talk a little bit. I want to go a little deeper into some of the football storylines we have here. I went to the Elma game against Rochester, and I'm going to assume Elma would probably prefer I never come to a game again because the first time I came to a game this season, they lost 28-7 to Squim.
Yeah.
I maintain that game was a lot more competitive than 28-7, and it just got away from them at the end.
Well, yeah, especially since McGaffey's touchdown run was taken off the board for no reason.
Correct. And then in this one, Rochester beats them 43-0.
Yeah, it was rough.
And again, apologies to Elma. And if you guys don't want me to come back, I won't come to Davis Field anymore because I might be the bad luck charm. But in this game, early on, scoring was really tight. Elma never really stopped Rochester's offense. Like, they slowed them down. They made them work really hard, but they never really stopped them. So Elma needed its offense to pretty much produce and score on basically every drive. They had 2 drives They got all the way down to the 15-yard line. One of them, it was penalty, sack, bad snap, drive over. And the other one, they ended up going backwards somehow. I can't remember. Then they turned the ball over on downs. Like, they just couldn't finish those drives. One of them, I remember them having 3 penalties. It was like 3 penalties in a row, I want to say. And you know, I have no idea whether they were good calls or not, because I can't always watch offensive holding in the backfield. But I do know for a fact that there was one play in particular where Dayton Brookins returned a kickoff 100 yards for a touchdown.
Nice.
It was a great return, looked super fast down the sideline. And then behind the play, like a guy that wasn't even going to catch him, an Elma player gets called for a block in the back. And at the time, I was watching from way behind because I was over there like thinking, oh, this is going to get returned for 10 yards and I'll see where it ends. So I'm watching from like way on the other side of the field.
Right.
And I'm like, oh man, why did you do that? You're so far behind the play. It was just kind of pointless. And then one of their coaches or one of their assistants in some way showed me on the tablet the play. And it literally was an Elma player in front of a Rochester player running and bumping him. And you could see where the Elma player's shoulder is in front of the Rochester player when he bumps him. It was not in the back. It was clearly not in the back. So not only was it kind of unnecessary, but it was a terrible call,
dude.
And it took away what could have been a huge momentum play at a point in the game where they were still in it, still a couple scores down.
Yeah. I love it when coaches show stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like when I'm up in the booth doing an Aberdeen game, every now and then they'll just show me the iPad.
Yeah.
Like they'll hear me complaining about something and they'll just show me the iPad. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yes.
Oh, that's the type of access that, you know, when you get to know some people, it helps out.
Yeah. It's better for you because people generally like you. People only like me when they don't really know for sure who I am.
Yeah.
But no, I felt like I went into that game. I picked Rochester in that game. Like you guys had all picked Elma.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be closer than what it was, but I know from having watched Elma play against Squim that when they played against that other team that was big and just decided to try to just pound it down their throats, that they struggled a little bit to stop it. And Rochester was going to do the same thing. And Rochester is big.
Yeah.
Like it's not just that they line up and run this horrible offense. They literally are very big and strong, and they have a running back who's big and strong, but also once he got out into the open field, he looked pretty fast. So
they fit their offense well.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've got a good personnel for it.
Yeah.
Chase says that was a terrible call. Officials don't want Elma to have big plays.
Yeah.
Which, you know, from that Squim and Rochester game, you can kind of understand that sentiment. Justin, I've leaned really homer in my picks so far this year.
Mm-hmm. This year.
In general. Do I need to keep doing that for our show's likability? Or can I actually start competing and picking the teams who I think are going to win?
You know what, Daniel? 2 times this year, you've been either the only one or one of 2 people who picked Hoquiam and got it right.
No, I was the only one.
Both times?
Both times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just
those aren't homer picks when I get it right.
Still counts.
When I get it right, it's not a homer pick. It's just me being smart.
Well,
but what I'm saying is, part of me, when I see your guys' picks, I'm like, somebody's got to pick these teams, or else people are gonna hate us. Now, did I think Hoquiam was gonna beat Tootle Lake? It's a fake lake. Of course, I thought they were gonna beat Tootle Lake. But let's say the next Hoquiam game or the next Elma game, when I don't think they're gonna win, what do?
You pick against them. Well, how much of a burden
is it? How am I going to look Kenny in the eye next time I see him? My guy, Kenny.
How much of a burden is it to go through life wanting people to like you? I don't struggle with this.
Justin.
I don't usually concern myself with whether or not people will like me.
Justin, my guy. A, you're right. I struggle with that personally. B, though, for the sake of our show, for the podcast. There's got to be one likable person on the podcast.
Well, Andrew doesn't talk much.
No, he doesn't.
So I think people like him. If he talked more,
Yeah.
they wouldn't like him.
Maybe. And, especially on a week when we're recording here and we don't have Pax in the background or Hannah in the background, we need somebody who's likable.
True. Good point. Yeah, you know what? If it leads to me continuing to just dominate you in the grid picks, then yes, you just keep being a homer.
Okay.
And I will keep bragging about how much better I'm
doing.
Well,
let's see. You got them all right this week, right?
I missed the Hoquiam game.
Oh.
I went 4-1.
So did I go 4-1 too then?
Yes, you and I both went 4-1. Everybody else went 3-2.
My guy. Sometimes it's hard being smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
But at least we have company.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. You improved your record to 9-11.
Shut up. Francis says likability is overrated. Yeah, you got a point there. Because winning is fun. And a lot of times people who win aren't very likable. Yeah. I just threw that in there. Let's see. Did Tootle have people suspended because of the fight in the Toledo game?
Oh, I heard about that. I don't know if anybody got suspended from that, but I did hear about that fight. So that's a very good question.
Interesting. Yeah. Back in the day, fights were much more normal. This show is rabbit trailed. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Where did you want to go next? Before I just give a random history lesson about fights before football games.
Wanted to say, because I want people to like me, that my honest belief is that Elma is not 43 points worse than Rochester.
Yeah.
They caught some really bad breaks. And I mean, I'll be honest, if there's one thing I do see in this Elma team is they seem to get deflated. And I don't know if it's like, hey, we're on a 2-game losing streak and things go poorly at the beginning of the game. They seem to get deflated quickly and early. And it seems to affect a little bit of their energy. No, I'm not going to say that they weren't trying, but you can tell, you can feel the difference in the energy when things are going well as opposed to going poorly. And there were points in this Rochester game that even in the second quarter that it felt kind of like the sideline was dead a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then they get it back and then they lose it again. And then they get it back. And then after a while, it was a little bit too late. So I think it could have been and should have been a much closer game had Elma taken advantage of opportunities and also not occasionally gotten hosed by the referees.
Is high school football even more of an emotional game than most high school sports?
I think so. Yeah.
I think it is too. Because most high school sports, emotion plays a ton into it. But just thinking about it, if you're a high school basketball game, there's so many possessions. Mm-hmm. And if there's a big bucket one way, you can go back and answer right away. But in high school football, sometimes a possession takes 5 minutes. And in real time, it's 10 minutes to 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so emotions, when you're living in that emotion for so long, especially as a high school kid, it's rough to try and overcome that. That's why I think momentum in a football game is real, and especially the younger in ages you get. Because, I hate to go back to this replacements quote, but the quicksand quote for football is real.
You don't hate to go back.
I love that quote so much. Go look up that quote where, you get stuck in quicksand where it feels like the harder you try, it's just the quicker you sink. And when you're getting emotional like that and things aren't going your way, it can get hard to dig your way out of it. And, high school kids can be a little bit more emotional than but you look at the NFL. Those dudes are emotional too.
Yeah, they're millionaires throwing fits.
Exactly. So football is an emotional game, and I feel like those swings affect that sport more than, maybe I'm trying to think, baseball, basketball, soccer. I don't think there's really anything in track that's emotional. Unless you just mess up your last throw that you needed. But, it's not like there's none of that momentum. Maybe golf. I could see how a couple of bad holes, but that's you. I
think the other thing about
football is such a unique sport when it comes to a lot of things like that.
Well, it can take time to steal the momentum back too. Like you pointed out in basketball, there's so many possessions. So like momentum can be stolen from you. You
Yeah.
can get it back in 14 seconds.
Exactly.
In football, it might be a while before you get the ball back to make an opportunity to make a play.
Exactly.
And especially the way Rochester doesn't give you opportunities to take the ball away.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So that was a pretty devastating loss, and it's hard, when you go out, and also like the way you have to attack that Rochester offense is so different from the way you attack any other offense. You can't play your normal defense. You're trusting your guys to be ultra disciplined. And yeah, sometimes you have guys who have contain responsibility and they get caught inside a little bit and then the play gets outside of them. Or sometimes you have a guy whose job is to stop the trap and he leaks out towards this other direction because his instinct tells him, oh no, this guy has the ball. And the next thing you know, the guy's getting 6 yards because he wasn't where he was supposed to be.
Right.
So yeah, like extreme focus, extreme discipline. And even against that kind of offense, it's still really hard to stop it sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're looking at this season, I was going to try and look up the Trico League really quick to try and figure out what's going on down there so far.
Well, they're strong
Justin,
at the top.
We know La Center's really good.
Seton Catholic's really good.
Guesser. I'm assuming
Kalama's also good. I don't know how good, but those are probably their top 3 teams.
So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, okay, so how does Montesano, Elma, Rochester, or Tenino, how do you think those next teams stack up? Because I'm completely biased when it comes to Evergreen to Trico.
Yeah, we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it feels like it might be a little bit of a shift this year because that Trico League is looking pretty good this year.
I think that almost every season, and this is why you had so much hesitation on it. Like we hear hype about these Trico teams. Oh, Castle Rock's going to be really good this year. Right. Oh, La Center's going to be a top 5 team. Like we hear this hype about it, and then the Trico seasons always end with a fart, and the Evergreen always seems to be stronger in the end.
Right.
And then we had last year in the Evergreen League, which Montesano was really good, and the rest of the league was very bad. And Eatonville did end up sneaking into state as the 16 seed, but they were just average. They weren't a very good team. And the Trico had La Center and Seton Catholic very good at the top. La Center better this year.
Yeah.
Seton Catholic, I'm going to assume, is better this year because they brought so many guys back from a team last year that made it to the state semifinal. So that's going to be the top 2 teams in Trico are really good. Kalama played Tenino earlier this year, beat Tenino. I think that the final score ended up being within 3 points, but that was actually like
I'm not seeing the Tenino Kalama game on Kalama's schedule. Oh wait, no, never mind. Sorry, that was the Seton Catholic.
Oh, okay,
schedule. My bad.
Yeah, I think it was a 3-point game, but Tenino scored like a garbage time touchdown, so Kalama actually would have beat them by like 10, if not for that. So we do have that one crossover. We got that common opponent there.
38-35.
Okay, yeah. So it was a 3-point game, but Tenino scored a garbage time touchdown. So it would have been like 38-28.
It's hard to judge this, right? Except for the team at the top. Like we have the common with La Center and Monty too.
Yeah. And I think if you ask, and I do want to talk a little bit about Monty football too here in a second, but if you were to ask some of the guys from Monty, how much they'd like to have another shot at that La Center team, because like they were so bad that day, and they are not the same team right now. They're coming off of some pretty quality wins, 3 in a row, and they didn't close it out against Ridgefield in week 2. Ridgefield which is a good 2A team. Ridgefield needed a last minute touchdown to beat Monty by a few points, and they have just gotten better. And so the level that they're playing right now, I believe, those guys would love to have another shot at that La Center team. I'm not saying they'd win because La Center's really good.
Yeah.
But I do think it would be a little different this time around.
So I just want to run through this really quick. So before we dive into the Monty game, La Center beat Monty to open the year 35-7.
Uh-huh.
They beat Woodland, who's a 3A school.
3A or 2A?
2A.
Yeah. I think they're in the Greater St. Helens League.
Yeah, 2A school, excuse me. 28-0. And so right there, my eyes open a little bit. Columbia, we don't care. They beat them 61-0. Kingsway, they beat them 34-0. And Castle Rock, they won 48-13. Then you go and you look at Seton Catholic.
If the page will ever load.
Yeah, I don't know why it stopped loading because I already had it loaded because I was trying to be prepared. That's annoying.
When you get to it, let's just pretend that it was a seamless transition.
What the heck?
I don't know.
I already had Kalamas loaded too, and now it just like started resetting.
There it is.
Bruh. Okay, there's Seton Catholic.
Seamless transition.
Columbia River, I don't know who that is. 56-7. Mark Morris, which Mark Morris is another 2A school, 46-6. But Mark Morris isn't generally a good football school. Castle Rock 48-14, Columbia 41-6, Fort Vancouver 57-0. The interesting game is next week. Seton Catholic is playing Kalama.
Ah, that's exactly what Forrest just pointed out in the comments.
Yeah, and so Kalama also beat Woodland 34-15, so not by as much as La Center did. They squeaked by Tenino 38-35, but you mentioned it was a garbage time touchdown for Tenino. Kingsway Christian 30-20. Fort Vancouver, dude, the Fort Vancouver program is a bizarre case study. I feel like I need to like go do some reporting down there and see what happened because
more like Fart Vancouver.
It's bizarre, man. 56-6, and then Stevenson 47-8. But yeah, that next week where they play Kalama versus Seton Catholic is going to tell us a lot, I feel like.
So William McGaffey telling us RPI, obviously we're not trying to overinflate the importance of it, but La Center's ranked number 2, Seton Catholic 5, Kalama 9. Monty is 10 in the updated RPI. So
yeah,
and Monty at the beginning of the year, if you look at a lot of the state rankings that like preseason state rankings that people were putting out, you got Monty in like the 7 to 10 range, kind of, which I think was probably fair.
Yeah,
about where my expectation was for them. So I think you're probably gonna, if they keep playing well, you're probably gonna see them start to creep back up into some of the state rankings a little bit.
Right. Gosh, the more I look through this, the more, I just wish Aberdeen was in this Evergreen 1A.
That would be cool. It is interesting too to think about, like
Aberdeen fits perfectly in this Evergreen 1A.
Yeah, perfectly. Yeah, it would be great.
And yeah. And I think Hoke Williams got some numbers coming. Like just with
Aberdeen's actually playing 3/5 of the Evergreen 1A this year in football.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so frustrating. So frustrating to see that the WIAA can't just be like, oh yeah, this makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
It makes me upset.
The playoff structure for football is really interesting this year.
Right.
So not only
there's a change this year, right?
Yeah. So not only are they eliminating crossovers, so they're taking all the teams that would qualify for crossover matchups, which like it's kind of crazy when you think about it, because last year this would have been Stevenson.
Right.
Like the Stevenson team that Monty beat 77-0.
Right.
That would be then in this round of, well, now it's not 30. That's the other change. The 1A classification came up one team shy of qualifying for a 16-team playoff.
Like Aberdeen?
So, yes.
That would have been nice.
Yeah. So, gosh, they will play a 12-team playoff, which means only 24 teams are getting into this, what would used to be the crossover round. That's now, I guess, a regional round. So my big concern about this is that the people, first of all, it's not going to be a seeding committee. My understanding is the committee only seeds the final 12. So the process that they're going to use to seed the 24 is unclear at this point.
Yikes.
So is it going to be a WIAA representative? Are they going to take all the league champions and give them like how many leagues are there? Like 13? Something like 11?
That's a good question.
So are you going to take the league champions and give them the first however many spots and then take the other teams that qualify and lump them in behind? So I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, but in football, especially in 1A, teams west of the mountains and specifically District 4 have been very regularly disrespected in seeding.
Mm-hmm.
So my concern is that like if a league is weak, they're just going to be like, oh, well, you're the league champion, but who cares? You get to go on the road to Riverside or Lakeside or some other side that's way over on the other side of the state. Drive 6 hours for your opening matchup and play against a team that's good.
Deer
Just
Park
to make
side.
yeah, Deer Park, exactly. Deer Park side. So I'm gonna miss the crossovers partly because I really enjoyed the rivalry with the Trico League. And like it's kind of fun that in crossovers you see the same teams over and over again and you build up rivalries with those teams. And also I'm concerned about how much travel is going to be taken into consideration. As a person who has been both a parent and a broadcaster who has driven 4 to 6 hours for an opening round matchup in the playoffs, I prefer not to do that if I don't have to.
Dude, Deer Park is a hike.
Yeah, well, Deer Park moved up to 2A, I think.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Good riddance.
But you have
for Braden, for my guy Braden Dorman.
I know, right? Yeah.
Good riddance.
Riverside is like 10 miles south of Deer Park. So it's almost just as far. And then Lakeside is like if you go to Spokane, and I think it's if you go down instead of up. So like in 1A, there's some crazy far drives. And I'm hoping that we won't run into those kind of situations. But I did want to talk a little bit about this Monty football team. And number one, kind of what our thoughts are on how the league shakes out as a whole, and where they've improved, because I think they have significantly improved defensively. They've significantly improved in line play, which if you watch the first game, the center game especially, it was really in the trenches where they got dominated. When I watched them since then, I've been impressed with what the offensive line has been able to do. And also on the defensive side of the ball, they've had some guys step in on the line and make some good plays. Sean Straka's had a couple sacks in recent games. I was told Mason Fry also has stepped up and as a very quick defensive end, stepped up and made some plays. The line, what's that?
Sorry, I think there's only 8 1A leagues now.
Okay. I guess that kind of makes sense because a couple of the districts I think only have one league in them.
Yeah. So there's one in the Northeast League
because there's 7 districts, right?
One, I think there's, let's see, the district map. There's 9 districts.
9 districts.
Yeah. District 1 has the only 1A league is a combo league. The Northwest League is 1A, 2A, 3A.
Yeah, and they all that's true. And I think they only usually get two allocations from there.
And then the District 2 has the Emerald Sound 1A. District 3 has the Nisqually 1A. District 4, which is our district, is one of the odd districts that actually has 2 1A leagues.
Right.
The Evergreen 1A and the Trico 1A.
Yeah.
District 5 has the SCAC 1A. That is the North Central Washington District. The Caribou Trail 1A is in District 6. District 7 doesn't have does have a 1A, the Northeast District, and it still has Deer Park listed there. So District 8, it's kind of the Spokane area. They do not have a 1A team. And then District 9, the Southeast District, only has B schools.
So, I just looked up the Evans rankings. Oh, that's volleyball.
Never mind. That's interesting. Sorry.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. I thought that was fascinating though.
Yeah.
There's not many 1A leagues throughout the state.
True. That is interesting. I was just thinking, I saw on Matt, if you don't follow Matt Evans on Twitter, if you're interested in high school football across the state, follow him.
Absolutely.
Great follow. He not only has a really good computer ranking system, but he's really plugged in with information from across the state on playoff allocations and stuff. And he had a post. By the way, his computer ranking, which is better than the RPI.
Yes.
Currently has La Center number 1
mm-hmm.
and Montesano number 8, Seton Catholic in at number 4. So Matt would tell you himself that he doesn't really put too much stock in the computer rankings until after week 6.
Okay.
But
data.
they're starting to shape up as more data comes in. And I think the interesting thing about the way this round of 24 is going to work is the allocations will go by league, not by district. And I think
that's interesting. So William McGaffey, who I'm not sure has the same information you does, says his understanding is the top 32 teams in each classification, 1A through 4A, are in the playoffs. The winners advance to the round of 16. So some East team will play West teams in week 10 and vice versa. And then 1B, 2B will follow the same format as previous years.
And again, all this information seems to be changing every week.
Right.
As more information is coming out.
It's a mess.
On Matt Evans on the N2 Media podcast, which I listened to last week, it sounds like all classifications are going to this format of eliminating crossovers. And we didn't find out that 1A was only getting a 12 team state playoff, which would mean 24 into this opening round, which I'm not even sure what to call it. But that they were only getting 24. We didn't even know that until last week. Jeez. So that is very new information. And the WIAA did release numbers of allocations to that. And it's changes year over year. So like in 2024, District 4 gets 8. And then in 2025, District 4 gets 6. So Matt's prediction for how those will shake out is because the Trico is bigger than the Evergreen League. They have 7 teams to the 5 for Evergreen. That this year Trico will likely get 5 and Evergreen will likely get 3. So we're probably only seeing 3 Evergreen teams even get into this round of 24.
My only problem is that the Trico is generally garbage.
It is. And well, then after you get outside of the top 3 of Trico, I don't think it's that great. But also after you get outside the top couple of Evergreen, you're in the same problem.
Exactly.
So in 2025 is when it gets interesting because it goes from 8 allocations to 6, which means potentially
Evergreen
Trico getting 4 and Evergreen getting 2.
This is why we need Aberdeen. We need another freaking team. This ticks me off so much.
And I guess the thing is that not every 1A team has a football program. So they're leaving open the possibility that one of these 1A schools that doesn't have a football program will play football next year. And so then you could get that one that you need and maybe expand back out to a 32 team.
There's
playoff.
1A schools without football teams?
I don't know who they are. But yeah, apparently they didn't anticipate that this change being made, but because they fell one program shy, they end up with a 12-team playoff.
I've heard random rumors out there because of Hoke Williams' numbers recently that they're looking at 2B. But as far as I know, you can't just be like, hey, we want to be 2B because of our amount of kids, right? By football team.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be by enrollment, right? You can apply,
by school enrollment,
but also the WIAA's general response to appeals has been no.
Yeah, true.
No.
But then sometimes, you have in 2B right now.
No.
You have 2B programs like North Beach and Ocasta,
right,
who were like, we don't have turnout to play 11-man, so they're playing 8-man.
Right.
And I think Stevenson might have actually done this a couple years ago where they were a 1A team, but they basically played a 2B schedule. And instead of really being in the Trico League, they played the other B schools that were in their area. But that might affect whether or not you can make the playoffs.
We saw Aberdeen play in the Greater St. Helens League.
Yeah.
Because they're like, our players keep getting hurt against Tumwater and WF West. We'd rather go play in this other league.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we're gonna need, as the weeks go on, to get more information. I'm gonna try my best to stay plugged into the people who give out the best information so that we'll have a good handle on what the playoffs are going to look like when they get here. But it sounds like over the next couple of years, it's going to be harder to get into the state playoffs than it has been previously for District 4 especially.
All right. I'm sorry. I kind of chopped off your Monty discussion there.
I think they're different. I think they're playing different. I think they're playing better. Yeah. And I think right now the way that they're playing is the way I felt like they were capable of playing. But they also have players right now that They just beat Tenino by 3 scores, and Mason Rasmussen had like 3 catches for 29 yards. So like they don't even have all the guys who I thought would have been their best players having huge production, and they're still winning games, and they're still winning games convincingly, and they're still beating good teams. So I feel pretty good about what Monty has done. But like as a side note on always when you feel good about how a team is performing, you also have to be able to look at like, I feel good about how they're performing, but I feel better about the fact that like, there's room for improvement. Like they can play better than they're playing. They've gotten way better. They can play better than they're playing. So after a very rough start of losing a couple games, I feel pretty good about where they are.
Taking a look at a couple of the comments. I agree with you, by the way. Chase says Acosta dropped to 1B, not just football. And he said they play in the same league with Matlock. Then he says, actually, I was wrong. It's just their volleyball for some reason. Interesting. So you do see some weird.
Yeah.
Every now and then you see some weird twists and turns when it comes to teams playing in different leagues. Getting back to Montesano, I feel like this team came in with certain expectations on the skill position side, but we saw a big turnover on the offensive line side. Do you think that these recent victories have shown that maybe the offensive line is starting to gel together and be able to provide some of the blocking that they needed?
I do think that. I don't know that they're going to get to the same level that last year's team did, but I do think there's been
bias. Sorry.
Yeah. No relation. It's just hard, like looking at especially when you have like you want to run those cross buck plays. You want to run plays where you have linemen pull, and having one side of your line be Camden Taylor and Peyton Domashevitz, no relation. Like really strong, technically sound guys who can also move. That it's just tough. Like those are tough guys to replace, and sometimes they'll elevate the play of the guys around them, just like the same way where if you were, and again, this is going to sound like a slight to the guys that are playing now. It's not, but if you're a linebacker playing in this year's Montesano defense, it's different from last year. Like you had 2.5 years of Camden Taylor, Tyler Johansson, Gabe Bodwell.
At least 2.5 years.
Occupying all the blocks so that you can have guys like Peyton Domashevitz, no relation, win league MVP because he just goes untouched all the time because there's nobody in his face, right. And Gabe Pahala's middle linebacker getting over 100 tackles because he's free to do whatever he wants because all 5 linemen have to worry about blocking these guys. So it makes a difference. It elevates the play of the guys that are around you. And again, I don't want to make it seem like this year's guys aren't good. They're doing great. They've made huge strides compared to last year, but that was a ton of size, strength, and experience from those seniors last year.
Do we want to take a break? Do we have a way to do that?
I think we have to just do it live. Like you say the commercial.
I say the commercial?
Yeah.
Which commercial do we do first usually?
We usually do the Spivey one we usually do the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz.
I don't think I had. You recorded that commercial, so I don't think I have that one.
Do you have legal trouble and need someone on your side?
We go.
The law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz is here to help you with their 30 plus years of experience. If you need help with a personal injury, real estate law, tax law, or something else, call the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz and let them be your advocate.
Dude, you nailed that.
Except for the something else part.
Can you want to give the website maybe?
Domashevitzlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com.
Just throwing this out there. I think I've got the commercial I need for the next commercial read.
Okay.
So next time I got the Spivey one ready to go.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
All right, so this
is what happens when we don't have a producer.
I know. Well, this is part of this is what happens is when I spend an hour and a half wrestling with technology instead of preparing for the show, which is what I would have been doing otherwise. But now we need to name a Spivey athlete of the week. Let's do a thing. If you're watching right now and you
Yeah.
want to throw out a name, Chase already did.
Yeah.
He threw out Beta Valentine. Super compelling pick there. I have to go back and verify the stats because they don't sound real. But Beta had a huge week for Alma Soccer. We had the nomination for Bristol Toll, whom I believe scored 5 goals in a match earlier this week. And then 2 nominations I got for Montesano football were Zach Timmons and Torrin Kreitz. Timmons had an interception and a touchdown, and he also had a really great catch that Ian just freaked out about on the broadcast. If anybody wants to go to the KWOK Facebook page, Ian did a little highlight clip SoundCloud thing. It's like 3 minutes long. You can listen to highlights from the game. It's really fun. So there was those, and I'm going to check on our Facebook real quick because I think that the Bristol Toll thing was actually something that I may have reposted at some point.
Yeah, you did. You shot it out there.
5 goals. Yeah, Bristol had 5 goals in a 10-0 win over Ilwaco. And that was, I believe, on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Or Tuesday.
Tuesday. There is, I gotta say, the de-escalator of beating a team 10-0 in soccer.
Yeah. I just, part of it too is like, I wish that we had more stats from the Monty football game.
So,
because I looked on the Chronicle website too, and the stats that they have just didn't even come close to matching up with what Ian had for the radio.
Chase says that happens a lot, by the way.
But a lot, like 100 yards difference in receiving yards.
Yeesh. Chase says Beta had 3 versus Rochester, 6 versus Tenino. 6!
That's a lot.
And 5 versus Tyee. Holy crap.
Tyee, it might be made up. I don't know if it's real. How is it possible that there's a school that you and I have both never heard of after all these years of covering sports?
SeaTac's a weird space.
And it's close by.
Yeah, but it's SeaTac.
I was in Tacoma yesterday.
Seattle Tacoma is just a made-up place.
That's true. There's an airport there.
They're like, hey, why don't we call it SeaTac? Because it's kind of between Seattle and Tacoma. So dumb.
That's like oh wait, can I say this out loud? You know that big area, like where you're in Hoquiam, but you're not across the bridge yet, or if you're in Aberdeen, but you're like kind of in that middle area, like around where Myrtle Street is.
Okay.
I used to always call that Hoquierdine. Because like,
why didn't you call it Aberdoquium?
Aberdoquium is good too. I feel like I never felt like I was in Hoquiam until I crossed the bridge. So there's that big space there.
There's a lot of space there. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and I never felt like I was in Aberdeen. Once I was on like the Simpson-Sumner one-ways, that's Hoquierdine.
I can get...
Or Aberdoquium.
I can get behind that. Yeah. The spot where they were just like, let's draw a line.
Yeah.
There's no actual like geographic notation. It's just like this line.
Yes.
I got you.
I worked in a job where it was my responsibility to dispatch people to different areas. And so I would just refer to that area as Hoquierdine.
That checks out. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thank you.
Chase says Tyee is a 1A team that plays in a 2A league because they have no 1A league by them. They don't have a football team. Oh, it's their fault.
Stinking Tyee.
They don't have a football team. I never heard of them until they showed up on Elma's schedule. And Chase says Olympic Stadium is before the bridge, though. So would you say Olympic Stadium is just outside of Hoquierdine?
No, it's in Hoquierdine. Olympic Stadium is in Hoquierdine.
I'll allow it. It's time that we get to our athlete of the week. So we have Bristol Toll, Zach Timmons, Torrin Kreitz, and Beta Valentine.
Yeah.
This is a toughie.
So Gabe Bodwell. Sorry, I got to bring that back. It's an oldie but a goodie.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
for those of you who are uninitiated, I used to try to just name Gabe Bodwell the athlete of the week every single week.
Every week.
Didn't work. He got it a couple times.
Yeah. So talk to me about Zach Timmons and Torrin Kreitz.
Yeah. So Zach had as I mentioned, he had a rushing touchdown and he had an interception, and he also made an insane catch that I didn't get to see with my own eyes, but I heard multiple people reacting to it. It was really great. Torrin Kreitz, depending on what the stats actually come out with, Ian had him for 161 receiving yards and a touchdown. In the Chronicle, they had him for like combined rushing and receiving. They had him for like around 150 and the touchdown. He had a great game. The 62-yard touchdown that he scored was like the score that broke the game open.
Okay.
So those are the two nominations for Monty Football. But again, like we're kind of running into the same problem that we had, in previous weeks. I'm like, I could pick 4 guys that all like seem kind of deserving, but there wasn't any one person that was just above everyone else.
And that makes it hard for Athlete of the Week because you want a big standout.
Yeah.
And right now, Francis, don't worry about it. Francis said some weird stuff about C-Talk in disc golf. So,
he lives to frolf.
That's true. I'm leaning towards Beta Valentine.
Here's the thing, Daniel. What if
Chase is just making up
made
numbers?
It all up? Like, what if Chase came up? Like, I could jump in the comments and be like, "Oh, Daniel Hargrove scored 85 points in a rec league game, and then he scored 6 touchdowns on some backyard football game against a bunch of preschoolers."
Well, hey, those preschoolers were tough. Those were Monty preschoolers.
Yeah. Can we put a contingency on it? Can we say Beta Valentine's the Athlete of the Week as long as we can confirm that what Chase said is actually true?
Well, I'm going to swing over to the Daily World.
That's going to take a while.
Yeah, my phone hasn't been working too fast.
You have to sort through like 4 games.
Let me go through. Let me then go to Elma Soccer Max Preps.
So 6 goals was against Tenino.
That's a lot.
And then 5 against Tai. So if we can confirm Tenino and Tai, I would say just those on their own. Here, I found the Tai one. If we could confirm even just those 2, I would feel really good about it.
Well, they did play Tai, Tenino, and Rochester. Is that what he said?
Beta has a sister named Zippy?
What?
It says sisters Beta and Zippy Valentine combined to score 7 goals. Beta had 5. Okay, she did score 5 against Tai.
It's 5 against Tai. And was it
see.
6 against Rochester?
6 against Tenino.
6 against Tenino.
I don't see Elma against Tenino.
Max Preps doesn't show it. They just show a 7-0 lead, a win.
Chase made it. Elma Golf wins. Elma Volleyball loses to Tenino. I don't know.
Elma girls soccer squad scored 7 points against the visiting Beavers to 0. Eagles.
Oh, here it is. Beta Valentine. 6 goals. Yep, she scored 6 goals in a 7-0 win over Tenino. Chase, it's not that we didn't trust you.
It's that Justin didn't trust you.
It's that I didn't trust you. And also, it doesn't seem real. How'd you score 6 goals in one game and 5 in another in 1 week?
And 3 in another against Rochester.
Not cool.
I
kind of want to give it to Zippy.
I'm going with Beta Valentine.
And Zippy.
Beta Valentine, 14 goals in 3 games. That's insane.
Yeah, and you can thank Chase for that. Because literally would not have happened had he not jumped in the comments.
That's so true.
He said you doubted me. Yes, I did doubt you, Chase. I'm sorry.
So,
I should have known by now.
Congratulations to Beta Valentine. What a sick week. Like, Bristol's 5-goal game is awesome, but Beta went 3-6-5. That's bonkers. That is nuts.
That's the amount of days in a year.
Oh.
365.
That's good math there, Chief.
Well, it's just numbers. We do numbers around
so
here. It's
congratulations to Beta Valentine. You are Spy the Athlete of the Week. Don't worry. We don't think you have peaked. We think you can plateau. Just keep winning Athlete of the Week.
Whoa.
Yeah, but this is as good as it gets, as we've mentioned before.
Yeah.
The Spivey Athlete of the Week is the crowning achievement of your athletic career.
But you can get more of them, though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the crowning achievement, but you can get more. I think Beta's probably been Athlete of the Week before, right?
I think so.
If she hasn't, then we've probably been doing something wrong.
Yeah.
She's real good at soccer.
She might have been snubbed once before.
Maybe once or twice.
You know, we did give a couple to Emmy Spencer, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So Emmy might have like stolen a couple of those.
Emmy was real good, too.
She was really good.
Yeah.
Beta, heck of a week. Just ridiculous numbers. Where are we going now, Justin?
I think we should take our next commercial break.
We should?
Yeah.
Well, did you know that Spivey Realty Group's goal is to make buying, selling, investing, and renting real estate in Grace Harbor simple?
What?
Did you know that they believe in 100% transparency and unparalleled communication with local expertise, tech enhanced, and top-notch service for their friends, neighbors, and community? Did you know that?
What?
They also, the tech enhanced, by the way, I've been looking at some Spivey listings recently.
How enhanced is the tech?
It's pretty enhanced.
Wow.
I'm too poor for any of it, but I look at the listings. Their goal is simple. It's to get a group of strong-willed, hardworking people together who want to make a difference in Grace Harbor and to use real estate as the means of achieving that. Voted Grace Harbor's best real estate company. Find them on Facebook and visit graceharborrealestate.com. Spivey Realty Group, elevating small town real estate.
You really got your whole body into that at the end. Like you're lifting
Boom.
your legs up and moving around.
Woo!
Like,
Woo! Small town real estate.
You're
At its
so
best.
passionate about small town real estate.
You know, Justin, I was looking at some housing listings recently.
Uh-huh.
And prices, man.
Yeah, man.
It seems like a great
Numbers.
time to sell because I can't afford it.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to the Scrimmage.
I laugh because I want to cry.
I'm Justin Domashevitz.
I'm Daniel Chargrove. I'm Daniel Hargrove. We don't have our producer, Andrew Gross.
No.
He's more out in the wilderness than he normally is.
Yeah, he did apologize to Chase. Chase was upset that we doubted him, and then Andrew said, "Sorry, Chase, they're completely out of control."
That's a good point.
So, and he's right. He's definitely right about that. But also, congratulations again to Beta Valentine. You deserve the Athlete of the Week after we confirmed the information that Chase gave us was correct.
Francis sent me a text. It said, "Ever wonder how far you have to go to encircle all of Hoquiam?" Tiggy says it's 13.6 miles.
He probably ran that.
He probably did. But also, it didn't cover my address, and my address was technically a Hoquiam address growing up.
Yeah. And I mean, it's Hoquiam pretty far out there. Like, not just on Ocean Beach Road, but also on Highway 109, like all the way out to Hogan's Corner. That's still Hoquiam.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think he actually ran out there. I think
Is he
cut
talking
off,
about city limits, maybe?
I think he cut off at like that spur. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he cut off at the spur.
Oh,
He didn't
Tiggy,
go out High
come
101.
on, man. Tiggy, run Ocean Beach Road out to Hogan's Corner.
Dude, I knew a guy named Chihawk who was one of my neighbors. Who we'd see him running in Aberdeen. And we were like, dude, what are you doing? And he was like, I just ran in here from home. We're like, what? You ran from Ocean Beach Road out to here? That's crazy.
As one does.
Yes. Justin,
Yeah.
do you know what we have coming up next?
Well, we have some 2-minute drill questions.
do
But,
we?
well,
I haven't read them.
I haven't either, and Andrew put them in. So, Daniel, Vanderbilt beat first-ranked Alabama. Arkansas beat fourth-ranked Tennessee. Texas A&M beat ninth-ranked Missouri, and some purple team beat 10th-ranked Michigan. What was the most surprising upset in college football this weekend?
It's got to be Vanderbilt, man. Vanderbilt has been my punching bag forever.
So true.
They are terrible.
So true.
But it's so wonderful to know that Alabama got beat by Vanderbilt. And you know what? They didn't trail once in the game. Absolutely beautiful. Take that, Alabama. Take that, former Husky coach who probably helped blow up the Pac-12. I don't know, but I'm going to throw that blame on you too.
Mhm.
Suck it. Also, the only times I've ever rooted for the Ducks kind of was then this week because they beat Michigan State, and he who should not be named is coaching Michigan State.
Voldemort?
Yep.
Whoa.
And he took the Ducks. He took them. Anyway, I'm not going to say anymore.
Took him out to dinner.
Sure. Justin, the reformed and refined. When it said reformed, I I thought he was going in different directions here.
Theology.
Yeah, I thought he was going to theology.
Yeah.
The refined Pac-12 will include 5 of the top 50 basketball teams according to March 17th NET rankings. Is this new and improved conference going to be the basketball powerhouse?
The basketball powerhouse?
It says A, but
A
I
basketball
switched it to
powerhouse?
the because ACC just inherited Stanford, and that's gross.
Dude, there's some really good teams in here, like Gonzaga and San Diego State. Those are 2 like legit regular top 10, top 5 programs.
Oregon State. Okay, sorry.
Boise State, regularly good. Colorado State's been pretty good lately.
Yeah.
Wazoo has a year here and there, as does Oregon State, where they'll pop in and be really good. Like it's going to be a good basketball program.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good basketball conference. It's going to be overshadowed by these power conferences that have combined their forces. And then, UW's going to go to the Big Ten. And of course, they're going to suck. They're going to have good recruits and then they're going to suck because that's what UW does in basketball.
Yes.
But so, they're going to
have worse recruits.
They're going to end up being overshadowed by the bigger conferences having more teams. But the idea that you have Gonzaga and San Diego State in the same, does Gonzaga have to change to Gonzaga State now? Because all the other colleges are state in this conference?
Every single one, right?
Yeah. I think it is. San Diego State, Boise State, Colorado State, Utah State, Washington State, Oregon State, Fresno State.
Yeah, Gonzaga's got to go state.
They got to go state. So Gonzaga State and San Diego State in the same conference doing damage in the NCAA tournament. Yeah, they're going to be a really good basketball conference.
Gonzaga was like, I don't want to be with St. Mary's anymore.
Yeah, they finally escaped St. Mary's.
Justin.
Yeah,
ask me about the Mariners really quick.
Hey, Daniel.
Yeah.
How about the Mariners?
I hate their ownership.
Yeah.
They're the worst.
Yeah. That's what we should probably do, like a little bit of regional sports talk to close here.
We should start a campaign because I'm sure nobody else has done this.
Yeah.
Only everybody. Sell the team, Stanton. Get out of here.
Yeah, we need to talk to Sean.
I'm so freaking done, man. We do need to talk to Sean.
We should do a little separate podcast sometime. That way we don't worry about how long it goes.
Yeah, we need to do a little Mariners post-mortem because it is just brutal. The comments that have come out here recently about this Mariners team, and it gives you zero hope. Zero hope. And it's just extremely frustrating. Justin, you didn't watch the Seahawks game today, did you?
No, I was wrestling with my computer.
They lost to the Giants. Need I say more?
they've
I'm just throwing this out here. I know Geno kind of looked okay, even though he got sacked 7 times. Give me Sam Howell, man. Give me Sam Howell.
Yeah. My fantasy football team is Howell at the moon. And right now, Sam Howell is the last player on the end of my bench. So I am so ready for that.
I want it.
I just think like it's funny because the Seahawks starting out 3-0. Like, it was kind of fraudulent, but at the same time, it was like, okay, like I don't think they're going to end up being like even, 12-7.
No,
but I think they're a good team.
12-7. That's 19.
12-9, 12-15, 12-5.
There you go.
I don't think they're going to be really good, but I thought they'd be like in the mix for a playoff spot. But I think what we've seen, at least in part the last couple of weeks, is when they've got some injuries, they are not equipped to fill those holes.
There's some position groups where they are not deep at all. Andrew throws in there, don't want to repeat that Robbie Cano disaster. Am I right? And that is, we're talking about the Mariners. So true, King. Like, Robbie Cano did nothing but awesome for them, brought in more stars to come play with him, and they didn't get stuck with anything in his salary. Not one bit. So what disaster was that? That was not a disaster. You can't even write a more perfect way to spend a ton of money on a superstar than he does good. He produces every year he's there.
He's a model citizen except for the steroids.
Yeah, that. He brings in more guys to come play with him. And then you don't get stuck with the crap version of his salary at the end of his contract. It's the fact that somebody said that out loud anywhere about how the Mariners were afraid of the Robbie Cano contract.
Who said that?
Are freaking morons.
Did someone say that for real?
Yeah, that came from inside the Mariners organization.
No.
They were scarred by the Robinson Cano contract.
No.
What is scarring about that?
I don't know.
Not
I will
a dang
always
thing.
have a soft spot for Robinson Cano. I love that guy.
Yeah. Him, roids and all.
Roids and all.
Him and Brett Boone.
I don't
You
even
know, Mariners second basemen are better when they have roids.
Yeah.
We'll throw that out there.
Who was the Mariners' second baseman this year?
Jorge Polanco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
Does he take roids?
He should have.
Should have taken roids.
There you go.
I always just love that. I think back to that Brett Boone quote where he was like, "Of course I don't take steroids. If I took steroids, I could dunk, and then I'd just play in the NBA."
And
Then we found out he did take steroids.
yeah, you're an idiot.
And he didn't play in the NBA.
Francis says, you guys are acting like baseball season is over. It is. Yeah, we don't care about anything else you're saying. Do you have a Stump Daniel?
No.
Do you have a mailbag?
No.
What about, you didn't go to Tenino. I was like, what about going to Tenino? But
No.
you specifically didn't go there on
I
purpose.
specifically and intentionally did not go to Tenino.
Yeah.
And instead, I went to Davis Field and I cursed Elmo's football team into another bad performance, apparently. I feel terrible.
That makes sense.
This is like fantasy baseball all over again, where like you're blaming me. So I'm trying to explain to people
Right.
that when you're telling me that it's my fault, not only like you're not only saying, "Hey, you cost me the championship in fantasy baseball, but you cost me $200."
That's a lot of dollars.
People don't understand when I tell them this that you're not joking.
No.
Like this is real. And in my mind too, I was like, "What do you mean he's joking? Of course it's real."
It's real.
Because we believe in jinxes and sports juju.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
These-
semistitious.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I recently, my last 5-on-5 softball game, which
Uh-huh.
if you don't know what that is, dude, it's the best kind of softball. On Tuesday night was my last game. And I came into the dugout, Justin.
Uh-huh.
I kid you not. I came into the dugout. Are you blocking somebody right now?
I was trying to see how to put
report. Up there.
Here?
Report. Yeah,
Report?
there it is. And now
child abuse.
misinformation. Do misinformation.
Is it this one?
No, it's not that one. That's pretty good.
Unwanted commercial. How do I block Francis? There's got to be an easier way. It can't be remove. Put him in the timeout. There we go.
Yeah, there it is. Timeout.
1 minute.
There it
Francis is in a 1 minute timeout.
It's
There
a
you go,
hockey
Andrew.
penalty.
Andrew was upset that he wasn't there to put Francis in a timeout. So there we go. He's in a timeout.
I love it.
I think we should have reported him for child abuse.
Knowing the FBI, they might actually go to his house though. In slow pitch softball, I told one of my buddies, I was like, "Hey, knock on wood, but I haven't walked anybody this game. I'm pitching really well."
Why'd you do that?
Bro, I walked 2 guys the next inning.
Yeah, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
When you looked in the smart part of
Rookie-
your brain, you knew that was a bad idea.
Rookie move. Like just what a tool bag move to
bad
make
job by
there.
you.
Yeah, bad job by me. I think that's gonna do it for our show today. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah. We need to have Sean on so we can fully flesh out the horribleness of being a Mariners fan.
Yeah. I think we need to do it in like a completely separate podcast. That way, like
I'm good with
because
that.
we won't have to worry about time constraints.
Yeah.
We can just do it.
Separately produced.
And then we don't have to worry about if people are not interested in our Mariners takes, whether or not they'll stick around.
Yeah.
It'll be specifically for people who care about our Mariners takes.
I love it, which is like 2.
And I just proved my Mariners takes are all valid because I didn't even know who the second baseman was until you told me. I probably could have guessed, though, if you'd given me enough tries. Is it Kyle Lewis?
And on that bombshell,
Carlos Guillen?
for my co-host, Justin,
Unieski Betancourt?
my guy, Unieski. That dude was a stud. For my co-host, Justin,
Jose Vidro.
I jinx Elmo football team's Tomaszewicz.
Joey Cora.
There you go.
And my co-host, Daniel, I know the names of Mariners second baseman Hargrove.
And our trusty producer, Andrew, in the wilderness like John the Baptist, eating bugs. Gross.
Locusts and honey.
Francis got out of timeout.
What do you say?
You should pitch for the Royals, Daniel. They might stand a chance against the Bronx Bombers. You know what? I throw slow enough, they would struggle with it.
Ephus pitches.
Chase says, Justin, don't come to Elma on Friday, whatever you do.
I will be in Montesano at Rottlefield watching the homecoming game against Hoquiam.
Don't like that.
Daniel, where are you going to be?
I don't know. Wait, where am I going to be?
Are you broadcasting with Ian?
I am broadcasting with Ian. What's the next game on the schedule for us?
Hold on. Well, let's try pulling it up both at the same time, and then we'll see who gets there first.
Aw,
he changed it.
Ian changed our profile picture to me and Ian
hold
smiling.
on. We're going to find it.
It's going to be a while.
Wait, hold on. No, actually, if you click on profile picture and then just scroll back to the last one.
That's smart.
Didn't work.
Oh.
Tried it. Didn't work.
Why didn't it work?
I don't know.
This is great podcast.
Oh, here we go. October 11th. Is that right?
Yeah.
Aberdeen
right.
at Centralia.
Oh, that should be a good game. Wait, at Centralia. I don't want to go to Centralia.
Nobody does. Sometimes you just have to do things you don't want to do.
Gosh dang it. I don't want to go to Centralia. Turns out I'm going to be in Centralia. I need to talk to my wife.
As a parting shot, Claire Dog says Monty needs more Marcus Hale, and you know what?
Amen,
I agree,
brother.
I agree. We both agree. So true, King. Show over. End of show.
I see you, Andrew.
Your stream will end immediately when you no longer be live.
Did Ian edit out the receding hairlines? What? I don't